Hey guys, Tim here from iOSmastery.com. If this is your first time watching one of my tutorials, then thank you so much for being here. If you're returning, then thanks again. I really appreciate the support. We're going to do a quick tutorial today on using the Files app in iOS 11. It's really straightforward. We're going to be writing and then reading and importing files from the native Files app. Pretty quick one. It's really straightforward. And hopefully after this you'll be able to do this in your own apps. So let's get into it. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is we need to add a couple of plist properties. The first one, UI file sharing enabled. That's going to enable iTunes to share the files in our documents folder. The second one is slightly longer. ls supports opening documents in place. And basically this grants local file app provider access to files within our documents folder. So we need to add these both. But that's pretty much what we need to do before start writing files and reading files from the Files app. So it's pretty neat. Let's go ahead and add the first one. UI file sharing enabled. By default that's set to no. I'm going to set that to yes. And the next one, ls supports opening documents in place, and set that to yes as well. Save that. Okay, next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually just write some files so we can visually see something written in the Files app, the native Files app interface. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to create a file name. We're just going to use a unique string, well, just so we don't overwrite whatever might already be there. And we're going to be writing a text file. We're going to have the contents. Just write whatever you want in here. Some text. That's fine for now. Now we're going to be writing to the documents directory, so we need to define that directory right now. File manager, default URLs, document directory, use domain mask, and we're going to grab the first URL here. We're going to implicitly unwrap for this, just for demonstration purposes, but you're probably better off using an if-let if you were doing this in a production environment. I'm just going to define the file URL that we want to write to. So from this directory, we're going to append the path component of the file name. So then basically what we'll have is we'll have a directory in the a URL of the file in our app sandbox, documents directory / and then the file name which we've defined up here. Now all we need to do is just write that file. So we do this within a do catch block. If there are any errors, we're just going to print this out. Error. Okay. Try, and then we're just going to write the text file. Contents. Write to the file URL we've defined just up here. Atomically false, and then we're going to be using UTF-8 encoding. Okay. And I should say I've already sorted out this storyboard and connected these things up. So we've got a stack view with two buttons. We'll get to what import files does in a minute, but the write files button just is connected to this function here. Okay, so let's go ahead and build. And we'll hit write files. We didn't get any errors, which is great. So let's jump into our Files app now. Okay, let's open up the using files, which is the name of this project. Excellent, have to refresh it there sometimes. And great, this is what we've just written, 10:02 AM, which is the time here. And you can see some text, which is what we defined here. Excellent. So this is the native Files app. It's displaying a file that we've written into our documents directory. Completely managed within the native iOS 11 Files app on my iPhone, using files, which is the name of the app, and here's the file. Excellent. So it's literally that simple. Really, really straightforward. So what if you wanted to use the iOS 11 native Files app to import something into your own app's sandbox? So to do that, we have to use the UIDocumentPickerViewController. And again, really straightforward to implement. So let's go ahead and do that now. UIDocumentPickerViewController. Now, when you instantiate a UIDocumentPickerViewController, you define the document types that you can import. So for this, there's a full list of these. The system declared uniform type identifiers, which is what's declared by Apple. You've probably come across a bunch of these before. There's one for images and videos. We're just going to be importing a plain text file in this case. So this is the key that we want here, the KUTT type plain text. So let's copy that, bring that across, string, and this is part of the mobile core services, so we need to import that as well. Import mobile core services. And the UI document picker mode we're going to be importing. Next thing we want to do is we want to set the delegate of the document picker to be this view controller. And we need to actually write the interface for this. So UI document picker delegate. Okay. And for now, we're going to only allow one document to be picked at a time, just for ease of use. Allows multiple selection. If you set that to true, it means we can select multiple documents and then import them. And then via the delegate callback, you see we've got an array here of URLs. They'll basically, if you select more than one, you'll obviously get them both those URLs within that callback. We're just going to keep it false for now, and then we're just going to present this view controller. True. Yeah. Okay, let's build that and see if the document picker controller is actually presented to us. Import files. There we go. So this is the native document picker view controller, which is basically the Files app interface. So, and you can browse around. You know, if you had Dropbox installed, you'd be able to select something from here. But as mentioned before, we're only interested in importing plain text files, so it should only show you those files. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going ahead and we're going to be importing a file from another app sandbox. So we've got this file here called import me, and we're going to go ahead and select to import that, and then copy it into our own sandbox. So if I select that at the moment, it's not going to do anything because our callback delegate doesn't actually have any code in it. So next thing we're going to do is we're just going to write some code to handle this import. Right. So let's make sure we've actually got a URL to import first. Section file URL equals urls.first. If we don't need to worry about it. Okay. So the directory we're going to be writing to is the document directory. So we can just copy this. And the URL within the app sandbox is going to be, so basically what we're going to do first is we're actually going to check whether the document we've selected to import doesn't already exist within our app sandbox. So as you saw previously, we can actually select to import a document within our app that we've already written. So we don't want to select to import a file and then copy it in if it already exists. So first thing we need to do is we just need to check whether the file that we're importing doesn't already exist within our app sandbox. If it does, we just do nothing. If it doesn't, we copy it. So let's go ahead and define the file URL for this document that we're importing, if it existed, and if it doesn't, where we're going to copy it to. So that's quite straightforward. It's the directory appending a path component of the file URL we've just selected, and it's the last path component, and that'll basically just be the name of the file. So now what we can do is we can just check file exists at path, So if the file exists in the path, we're just going to print already exists, do nothing. If it doesn't, then we can go ahead and copy this file. So let's go ahead and do that now. Try file manager default copy item. So we're copying the item from the selected file URL, which is what we've selected to import, and we're copying it to the sandbox file URL. Okay, and if that goes through, we can just print out copied file, and we'll print any errors. Error. Okay, and that's all we have to do at this point. So if what we've done is correct, then what we should see happen when we select a file to import that already exists within our app, we should see a printout saying already exists, do nothing. If we are importing a file that doesn't exist, we should be able to, it should copy in, and then we can browse into our Files app, and we should see that file has been copied in, and then we can view it within the Files app. Let's try it out. Okay, import files. First thing we're going to do is we're just going to try and import a file that already exists within our app. So our app's called Using Files. Let's tap to import it, and as you can see, already exists, do nothing, which is what we wanted. Now we're going to try and import a file from another location, not within our app. So we can browse here, and you see I've already created this file called import me, just to make things clear. Tap on the import me, and great, we can see copied file. So that's what's happened, is it's come in, it's checked whether the file exists in our app sandbox. It doesn't, so it's copied it. It hasn't moved it, it's copied it, and then it's printed it out once it's been successful. So now, if we exit and we go to our native Files app, and you can see now we've got two items in here. Sometimes you have to refresh this. And there you go, you can see the import me file, which is the one that we wanted to import. And that's the same one from here. Here's some text which should be imported. And let's see if that's the same. Excellent. So there you go. Pretty straightforward. So guys, there we go. Really quick tutorial on how to support the Files app in your iOS 11 apps. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps others to find it and helps me out as well. Any comments, positive or negative, please just leave them down below. Really appreciate any feedback you can give me. It helps me to become a better educator for you guys. And if you haven't done so already, I really recommend you hit the subscribe button. There's going to be lots more videos coming your way very soon. So yeah, please do that. Go ahead, hit subscribe, and I'll see you guys again next time.